Well, it's well known that EV batteries underperform in cold weather, reducing their range and charging speed. But a new hybrid, no, not that sort, is about to change everything. Greetings, Titans. I'm Dave. This is Dave Takes It On. Well, everyone and their dog has an opinion on the future of EV batteries, but few would have predicted this twist in the tale. Today we're taking on the Avatr 07, a car that's not a hybrid, but it does have a hybrid battery. And another one that's got a range extender, but is 100% EV. Well, the original battery for all EVs was the NMC, or nickel manganese cobalt. These offer maximum performance, but at a higher price. In a bid to dramatically reduce the price of the EV, battery manufacturers began to look to replacing some or all of the expensive metals with cheaper ones. Iron was tried, as was sodium. Both are widely available, meaning no more reliance on China for expensive processed lithium. The only trouble is the cheaper metals also produce less power for the same weight. They are less power dense. But for most models, this is actually not a problem. Well, the early EV models, in a bid to look really attractive, had tremendous performance, and because of this, they could attract a higher price for the finished car. The Tesla Model S, for example, has a 0 to 60 time of under 5 seconds, which is well up there in the supercar realm. But as that luxury market began to slow down as it neared saturation point, so the next generation of EVs needed to be cheaper to appeal to a wider market. By being cheaper, they did not normally need such fantastic performance. After all, a standard Ford Mondeo was not exactly a racing car. Well, LFP, or lithium iron phosphate, was an ideal fit. The EV performance was still better than, say, a standard Mondeo, but certainly not up to the supercar tag. Being low power density, they were also much more stable, almost impossible to catch fire, and this answered one of the myths that put some people off EVs. This allowed for cheaper batteries that enabled a cheaper overall price of the EV. But without having reached mass production, even LFP-powered EVs were still expensive compared to their ICE equivalent. To reach a price parity, either the EVs needed to get into full swing and hit mass production level, where the cost dropped dramatically and they could reduce prices, or they needed an even cheaper battery. Sodium was discovered to have suitable properties. Well, it certainly had a lower power density than NMC or even LFP, but sodium was incredibly cheap, being found, well, in abundance everywhere. It's seawater. The batteries were also incredibly cheap, but packed even less power density. In fact, so much less that they were not ideally suited to use in EVs. They had a few great characteristics like price and a 3 times higher tolerance to heat than lithium, but the power density effectively ruled them out. A workaround was needed, and this started the hybrid path. Oh, by the way, Titans is simply the acronym for Takes It On members. If you'd like to support the channel financially for just a few pounds a month, have a look at our Patreon page, the link for that down below. You get lots of goodies in return for your support. Well, the early hybrid batteries were simply a mixture of different cells within the same battery pack. And NIO's been using this since, for the last 4 years, back in 2020, where the 4 corners of the pack were fitted with NMC batteries and the rest, the majority, were all LFP. Well, these were eventually discontinued in 2024 as the search for ever cheaper batteries and cars continued. With advances in technology and chemistry, the power density of LFP batteries began to rise, not to anywhere near the level that NMC had reached, as they too had also increased in power with each new generation. And the difference is really massive. LFP batteries, they've crept up to about 130 watt hours per kilogram, while NMC, they're an absolute mile ahead at over 250 watt hours per kilogram. It's about double. But the LFP appealed to the majority of buyers because it was sold to them as being totally safe. Well, in reality, the NMC, with much better design, manufacture and battery management, they're also now incredibly safe. Well, if we move forward to today and the search is back on for a suitable compromise between cost, safety and performance. And there are two avenues of attack this time. CATL, the world's largest battery manufacturer, launched its Freevoy range of battery on the 24th of November this year in a limited number of cars. It is a hybrid battery in that it has different chemistry batteries, lithium ion and sodium ion, in the same pack. No LFP. Well, exact details are still a bit scant, but they are already claiming to get over 400 kilometers of range and 4C charging, and that's fast. They also claim that the sodium batteries have better cold weather performance, longer range and quicker charging times. A byproduct is that the NMC batteries also perform better. It appears that much of the loss of performance in the cold is not a real loss of power, but down to not being able to accurately determine the actual state of charge. By using the accurate state of charge predictions of the sodium ion batteries that are unaffected by cold and adjusting for differences, they can predict the NMC battery's state of charge much better, more accurately, and consequently, they get more range out of them. Well, one of the first cars with these Freevoy batteries is the Avatr 07. It's made by a joint venture with CATL, Huawei and Chang'an Auto. These are available as EREV or extended range EVs and are also available as a PHEV plug-in hybrid, although these are rapidly falling out of favour. Oh, just a quick mention, if you're a regular viewer and you enjoy or learn from our videos, you've not yet subscribed, please do so. It does mean a lot to us. Well, a different approach to hybrid batteries is being taken by Tesla. Instead of mixing different batteries in the same pack, they questioned if a different compromise could be found by using only a single battery type in each pack. They, in true form, just refused to follow the pack and they struck out on their own in asking, can you mix a bit of NMC chemistry with others to get the same result? A more powerful battery that is better at low temperatures and charges quicker. But in the process, they discovered that a much more energy dense chemistry was already available, but was not in use as it suffered from a vastly reduced life cycle expectancy. It fails after as little as 150 full cycles, as opposed to well over 1,000, probably nearer 2,000 for the NMC. But there was a fantastic workaround that they proposed. Well, delving into the data, this is real hard, true data from millions of their own EVs over billions of miles and 20 plus years. They found, it's a staggering fact, only 1% of all the journeys undertaken were longer than 200 miles. And few batteries were charged to the full 100%. So they invented and patented the all-electric range extender, where the extender bit is actually a small part of the battery that is a totally different chemistry within the same casing, but only ever used in high power demand situations. In plain English, you drive it on the lithium ion bits of the battery almost all the time, and you've got a range of more than 200 miles, which suits 99% of all motoring needs. In fact, the average UK daily average trip is 20 miles, with just one or two longer trips a year. Well, this means that most EV drivers are carrying around battery packs far larger than they ever do or will use. This makes their EVs less efficient. What a shame people get brainwashed by the negative media, which claims, oh, we all want 1,000-mile range EVs, and until they are available, we shouldn't buy them. They should ask themselves how many 1,000-mile range ICE cars are there on the market, or, spoiler alert, have ever been offered. And the answer is zero. No ICE car can go 1,000 miles on a single tank full. Does anybody ever ask why? In over 100 years of ICE cars, nobody has ever made one that can go 1,000 miles on a full tank. Shows how much it's needed. Well, so Tesla hybrid battery reserves a different chemistry part of the battery inside the lithium ion battery, and it never gets used in normal use. When needed, it is released to act as a range extender, a real boost of high power for those on 1 or 2 long trips a year, or maybe for the caravanners who would otherwise see much lower ranges. With such low usage of the range extender, the 150 cycles is no longer an issue, giving that bit of the battery considerably more than, say, a 50-year lifespan in normal use. Well, the future is unknown. It's my belief that sooner or later people will finally realise that for over 90% of all journeys, you travel less than 50 miles a day. Just like we don't buy a 14-seater minibus as our daily car, because once a year it would be handy to be able to take all the members of your own and extended family in one vehicle for a day trip to the beach. So most people will come to learn that a range of 200 miles is perfectly adequate, and the smaller, lighter battery makes the car even more efficient. Spread the word, please. I'm Dave. Well, if you got this far, thanks so much. I will assume you've subscribed, but if not, please take the opportunity now to do so. If you want more from the channel, then we display other videos that you might enjoy, and you could always become a Patreon member and get to meet me on a filming day. Many have already done so, and these end up really good days out. Cost less than a cup of coffee to become a member for a whole month, unless you do come and meet me on a filming day, when it will cost an extra cup of coffee and probably a donut or two. I'm Dave.